We're live.
Hello. Hello and welcome to another edition of Tech Radar. Live. It's Andrew London, and this week I am joined on the sofa by
Gerald Lynch.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
And so, yeah, as always, feel free to jump into the comments. Let us know that you're here. Say hello. We are going to be talking about a few different things today.
A bit gamey this
week, isn't it? Gamey this week. Yeah.
Not the pigeons.
No, not a game pie.
No. A game disc. A download.
You're showing your age. Disc.
Oh, remember them? Remember paraffin lamps?
Do you remember the mini disc? And so we are going to be talking about Battlefront 2. We're going to be talking about Skyrim coming to the Nintendo Switch.
And VR.
Yeah, we
can have a chat about that.
Yep. And then we're going to be doing a little bit of Black Friday chat because that is kind of upon us.
It is the words on everyone's wallets? Lips.
Wallet lips?
Wallet. On the lips of your wallet.
If your wallet could talk. Cool. So, first, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Do
we have to start with stars? It's so sad.
I know. But yes, we do.
Okay.
So Star Wars Battlefront 2 is out. And was very exciting that it was out.
It was very exciting. So this stars Battlefront 2, the first-person shooter, published by EA, with help from DICE as the development team.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had some early hands-on time playing at Gamescom and at a few other events.
I had access to the multiplayer beta as well for a weekend.
Yeah. And it was really exciting. The gameplay was really good, and it was a thing that I was genuinely quite excited about playing, because I remember being little and playing the LucasArts version of X-Wing, and like there's just something about the gameplay mechanic of it that felt really nostalgic and good. And
so it's kind of a game journey a few years in the making, right? So like, was it 2 years ago now you had Star Wars Battlefront 1, which was the reboot of Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 by a different developer about a decade ago. So let's not confuse matters, but these are not the first they're not the first Star Wars Battlefront multiplayer shooters.
No.
So the first one was kind of, it brought a lot of fun to the table in the sense of that it was like the toy box of Star Wars, right? So you can jump into an X-Wing, you can run around the Battle of Hoth, you can be Luke Skywalker at some points, you can be a Stormtrooper at others. But in terms of what people would expect from like a shooter now, like Call of Duty and Battlefield games, the depth wasn't there. So the promise, So the promise this time was that it was going to be a far more kind of feature-rich game, and perhaps most pertinently, that there would not be any DLC. So when DLC these days is a big part of how a games company makes its money back, EA have had to look at new ways to make some cash back beyond the £60, $60 that you've paid for your game.
Just before we jump into that, I'm just going to say a few hellos, because we have got a few hellos. And so, Tarek, hello. Rajashi Ganguly, hi there.
Hi.
Abhishek, Appassionato, and Sumit. Hello to all of you. Hello, thank you for joining us. And so, we have got to a stage where it feels a little bit like the model for how you pay for free-to-play games has migrated into games that you're already paying to play.
And you can kind of see, to play devil's advocate on the side of the developers, how this scenario has occurred, right? So games now, multi-development studios, hundreds and hundreds of people working on them across the globe. And with the increases in technology, if you would make it a 4K super rich looking Star Wars game that's modelled on all the original characters and all the original ships, and you want it to be pixel perfect, that's a lot of work back compared to the days of like Mr. Old Super Nintendo Gerald, when you plugged the cartridge in and if it didn't work you blew it, these games now are huge enterprises.
They are, but they're coming from massive companies, and it's not as if they're starting from scratch. And so when you had all of the really old school games where they're like, where do we put the pixel so that it looks like a person, like that doesn't exist anymore, because all of those engines already currently exist, and so they know how to do human mechanics, they know how to do that. And like with Star Wars, stormtroopers are one of the main things, and they all look exactly the same.
So what EA have done in terms of trying to claw that money back is introduce loot boxes.
Yeah.
So loot boxes kind of bring an element of chance and gambling to the equation, you could argue. I don't think EA would necessarily call it... Gambling's a funny term, I guess, because then that doesn't necessarily have to be money change hands.
Yeah.
But you can choose to buy loot boxes. So a loot box, how it would work. So in an older game where once you would have, you know, finished a game and then you unlock your new Chewbacca character or whatever.
Yeah.
You now have these things where for completing certain tasks and stuff, you unlock a loot box which can give you a certain reward or a certain, say like an amount of credits, in-game currency, to add up towards unlocking one of these characters.
Yeah.
So the controversy this week has been that you have to unlock a hell of a lot of loot boxes or spend your own real money to get there faster.
And this is kind of the thing that when I played the early version that I got to have a go at, it was a space battle, and if you got enough points, you could then become the Millennium Falcon, or you could then become Darth Maul.
That's still in there.
Yeah, and so that kind of makes sense, that you're like, if you want to have someone be Darth Maul, you can't have everyone be Darth Maul at the same time. So it makes sense that you play and you earn points, and then you spend that to do the thing, and that all makes sense, and that's fine. But the problem is
when you go beyond those characters, and when you're going into the stage where the kind of the premium stuff, right? So what probably once would have been part of a $10, $15 DLC pack is now gated behind these kind of this progression system, which is really either incredibly time consuming to the point where you have to play years of your life to see every single part of this game, or you're spending real money to get them, and
not inconsiderable amounts of money as well. It's like thousands of pounds, isn't it?
Someone has figured. I mean, you have to take this with a pinch of salt. Yeah. But some, plucky internet person has crunched the numbers for a spreadsheet, and it's a lot of money. Yeah. So it's really a question of the pay to win argument. Yeah. Now, as a casual fan, maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't need to have, the absolute upgraded, scout rifle or the fancy new outfit for whoever. Yeah. But if you're like a real hardcore fan, and Star Wars fans are among the most hardcore in the world, right? Yep. Even and that extends to their gaming fans. You probably do want everything in the same way that you wanted all the toys. Yeah. So the promise that Battlefront once was like, hey, here's this big toy box. Yeah. Is now, hey, here's a big toy box with some empty spaces that you're going to have to
pay to fill. Yeah. Or work really hard to grind to fill. But there's another issue, isn't there, with the grinding, that it's not just that you go, okay, cool, I'm really good at arcade mode, so I'm just going to grind away at that. That actually it's been built into the game that if you grind for too long in one particular field, you get a timeout. They go, okay, actually, you're too good at this section, so you don't get to play for a bit. Yeah. And so,
or you can play, but we're not going to reward you for playing. Yeah. So it's very. It just feels very cynical, right? Doesn't it? So I think it's a shame, because it looks really lovely. There's a single player mode which people have been calling out for a long time, and for again, playing into those hardcore fans, it's bridging the gap again between elements of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. These are like vital little story moments for someone who's really into Star Wars. Yeah. And yet it's surrounded by this kind of insistence on milking the fan for all they're worth.
Yeah. So just looking in the chat, we've got a lot of people having the Battlefield versus Call of Duty conversation. And so we're talking about Battlefront at the moment rather than Battlefield. But yeah, we have got a review on the site of Call of Duty. Yeah, I think. Right. I don't know if we do of Battlefield.
Battlefield would be a few years ago now. But we've got stuff. We've got some guides and stuff. You can have a look.
Check out the site. We've written some things.
Yeah, we play games. We do games too.
We do games and things. We've got a few more people that have logged on since last said hello, and so hi
Hello.
Tushar, and hello Joseph Bryant as well. So let's talk a bit about Skyrim.
Another great game, right? Or, another great game that we've had for years and is now back.
Yes.
So, Skyrim, if you've got a computer, or computer games console, or any interest in gaming / fantasy at all,
if you've ever thought of game,
you have thought of Skyrim. Yeah. Like, it's been there, right? So it's now coming back for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
The new Nintendo portable handheld thing. And it's got an official VR release.
Yes.
For PlayStation VR.
That's right.
For a long time, Oculus Rift owners and I guess a couple of HTC Vive owners as well have made workarounds for the PC versions to be kind of retroactively unofficially suppoted in VR. But this time we've got straight out of the box. VR's on the box, as is the £45 price tag again, or whatever. So it's one of those questions of how many times are we going to buy Skyrim, I guess.
But the thing that I find quite staggering about it is that when Skyrim first came out, it was this game that was like open world, and there had been open worlds before then, but they always felt a bit like you can go anywhere and do anything, and the anywhere and anything was always a little bit thin on the ground. Whereas with Skyrim, it felt like literally everywhere you went there was something happening.
And Bethesda have been really good at building that kind of that lineage from their worlds. When you think of open world games, you go back to like their Morrowind and stuff. So that Elder Scrolls series, which Skyrim is a part of, it's that every year building the foundation and increasing, the quality of it. And what I think is really interesting now is here you go. They've taken it, an older game. For me personally, at least the VR version. You're in it now, you're not just running around and finding the cave that you want, and oh look, there's a bear, oh look, there's my new elf friend, he's going to help me out. It's like this time you're standing next to your elf friend, and your crazy goblin attacker is at your feet,
and it's the full game.
It's the full game, the entire game. So they've done some really clever stuff with it. So PlayStation VR game means you've got the Move controllers. So if you've got a bow and arrow, you're literally pulling it back and pointing it at the dragon in the sky. You've got your shield up by moving it like that.
Accidentally punching your lamp in the real world.
Punching your lamp in the real world. But they've also made an attempt to address some of the problems that people have had with like nausea and stuff like that. So if anyone has or hasn't played a VR game, you may have heard of or experienced that sense of like motion sickness when you put headsets on, and that's to do with the differences between what your eyes are seeing and how your body and brain expects to feel from the motion that you're seeing but not truly experiencing. So they've done some really clever things. So as you move forward through the Skyrim, the icy tundras, the field of view will shrink. So you'll get this kind of vignette kind of effect come round, and you'll get like a tunnel vision. So while you're moving, you don't have the peripheral kind of stuff, which apparently, I don't know the maths of it or the science behind it, is what causes your brain to go like, whoa, something's not right here.
That would make sense. So I was looking into Oculus had a research team that were working on a thing called focal surface display that was big words. Using the science, that was dealing with the idea of your eye thinking that it was seeing something that was far away and something that was near, but they were actually the same distance away to your actual eye, and how that is one of the main things that causes this motion sickness. And so actually the idea of removing your peripheral vision and making it so that there was one point of focus would make sense.
And it reminds me of, to go back to Battlefront, the VR mission that was introduced in the original Battlefront game, which was great, and I loved it very much, which makes me all the more sad that Battlefront 2 is having its trouble. Because what they did there was you were sat in the cockpit of an X-Wing, and if you guys are Star Wars fans, you'll know that X-Wing has kind of like a really long kind of like nose, and that's your focal point, right? So that sits in the middle, and that's always fixed. even if the ship is turning, that will always be there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a horizon line, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And that's anyone who's ever had car sickness before, you focus on the horizon line and you start feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
So if you constantly have something there,
Yeah.
it kind of mitigates it a little.
Yeah. We've got a bit lost in VR chat.
Skyrim on the Switch as
Switch.
well. So
Yeah.
if you can't be bothered to put your head in a headset and that turns you off or whatever,
Yeah.
you can now maybe play Skyrim on the toilet, because you can now on Nintendo's little machine, it's totally portable. It's the whole game, right?
Yeah.
So what's really interesting is that movement through time. Movement through time? Yeah, we do move through time.
We do.
It's the increase in technology.
Yeah.
The way we always make these improvements over time, right? So the
Yeah.
thought of ever having a VR headset, let alone Skyrim in a VR headset,
Yeah.
seemed crazy when Skyrim first came out.
Yeah.
To get Skyrim looking good on a PC when it first came out was like, oh, my wallet, where's my new graphics card, mummy,
Yeah.
and now you can play it on something that looks like a phone, well, a tablet, like, to reduce the Switch to its component parts.
Yeah, and the Switch, like, obviously Skyrim is an old game now. I mean, in terms of
Relatively speaking,
Yeah.
in the gaming industry.
in the gaming industry, it is an old game, and so it's not going to be a thing that people are like, oh my god, you've got the latest AAA game that is on all of the other, but still, it shows the potential, doesn't it? And considering that the Switch has already got Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda and all of these games that are already like killing it in the industry, that actually being able to get Skyrim, which is kind of undeniably one of the best games ever made,
still great,
onto the Switch, it just shows that actually we are reaching that stage that everyone kind of wanted when the PS what was Vita or PSP first? It was PSP
before the Vita,
that when that first came out, everyone was like, oh yeah, and I'm going to have my PlayStation in my hands, and you didn't. But we're kind of getting there now.
And what's nice as well to remember is that I don't know how many people really are like this, but when you're on the, you browse in the internet forum, chat room, where the kids hang out and talk games these days, you get that feeling there's always, I'm a PlayStation player, I'm a Sony fan, I'm an Xbox fan, I would never play an Xbox, I'd only ever play a Nintendo, right? If you are genuinely that person and you've only ever had a Nintendo throughout every iteration of the console generations, then you've never had the chance to play Skyrim, right? It's never been on a Nintendo machine. And the popularity of the Switch is now letting developers kind of take a chance on Nintendo again, where the Wii U struggled. They can go back and revisit some of these titles that they weren't able to give the love to on another platform. Rockstar are doing it. LA Noire is now coming to Switch as well. So does that mean we'll see a Grand Theft Auto game on Switch? Maybe, you know?
And we are seeing and so like FIFA 18, it's a different version. It's not the console version on the Switch, but there is a version of it on the Switch.
Which is really interesting in itself, right? Because they've decided that they're going to dedicate the resources to not just port a game, but make a brand new engine to run on the Switch, So like they see the potential there. And Skyrim is one of the first fruits of that. Yeah,
exactly. It's exciting. So Parag Patil has asked, what about the OnePlus 5T? And so today we don't have anybody from the phones team sat on the sofa, and so we're not going to be talking about the OnePlus 5T, but obviously today is the big day. And so make sure that you head to techradar.com and check out. We've got loads of amazing coverage about it. So yeah, definitely head to the site. Last thing that we are going to talk about today is Black Friday, because that is happening. That is coming up.
Wallet time. Get them out.
Wallet time. And I say coming up because it's next Friday when this video is being made, but it's kind of already started. That there are already deals coming out.
Lots of the retailers are going a little early, I think, because it's going to be so busy around that Black Friday period with whether it's Amazon or or Walmart, or if you're in the UK, Argos, or wherever your like local retailers are. Everyone's going to be clamouring for a bit of that pie, right? So everyone's going to be trying to get your money on that weekend. So if you go a little bit early, you start seeing other people trickling out the odd ones that coax people in.
I would be really interested to see what you guys think about Black Friday. Is it something that you're excited about? Is it something that you're like, oh, I don't want to hear anything more about this? Are there specific things that you're thinking you want to buy on Black Friday? Like any of that, like pop it in the comments and we'll have a chat about it. So an interesting thing for me was that Amazon in the UK started the ball rolling by going Amazon Music Unlimited 3 months for less than £1, and it was just like, we're here, we exist, like this is happening. And so by the looks of it, there are going to be some good deals.
Yeah, I mean, you can only talk historically, right?
Yeah.
You can't say what's going to happen yet, but you start to feel little things that you can keep an eye on, which kind of give you an idea of what's going to come. So if you've been perhaps looking at, let's go back to a PlayStation for example. If you've been looking at a PlayStation for the last couple of weeks and been like, oh, I really want one. Oh, when's the price going to drop? And you may have seen at certain places the price has gone back up.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like all of a sudden it's closer how much it cost when it first came out.
Yeah.
So that's often a good sign that it's getting ready for a bigger discount.
Yeah.
Because if the retailer can inflate the price a bit and then cut it back even lower, all of a sudden what would have been maybe a 10% discount looks like a 75% discount or whatever, you know, so they can play these little tricks. So if you're keeping an eye on prices of things that you've been following for a little while and you're seeing things kind of creep up again, you might think, well, actually, how does that work? Yeah. It's probably a good sign that it's going to get a really good discount.
Yeah, and it's also worth looking at things that have previously been discounted. And so the PlayStation is a perfect example that on Prime Day earlier in the year, there were some amazing deals that were the PlayStation and 2 games for massively reduced prices. And so actually it's worth looking, and we have on the site loads of guides for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all of these things. And so we've got specific ones for specific categories and just a general master list. And so if it is something that you're planning on spending some money on Black Friday, definitely make sure that you bookmark those pages so that when it comes to actually getting those deals, you don't end up being the person that doesn't know what they're doing and just buys something, and you might end up spending too much or buying something you don't really want, and you don't have to.
And like if you're looking for like a wearable now, or a particular phone or TV, we're looking at these things all year round. So if you want to have an idea of like what's a good thing, you know, what's a great item, look at our best of list now and start doing your research now. The worst thing you can do for Black Friday is make a snap purchase and then regret it.
Yeah, and a lot of the retailers do these things that there's like lightning deals, and so it's like you've got 2 minutes before this deal disappears, and then you get into this state of panic and you're like, should I buy it, shouldn't I buy it? Oh, and you just accidentally buy something that you don't really need, and actually you don't have to do that, and we can help stop that from happening.
So it's just about doing your research ahead of time, right? Just don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, we have not had any questions about Black Friday.
That's because they all know what they want, right?
They know what they want.
They don't need I mean, I know what I want. Do you know what you're getting, Andrew? Have you thought about it?
Yeah.
That's good. We won't share it though.
Won't share. No. Secrets.
Cool.
So, just in the last minute before we're about to say goodbye, the British Unknown swoops in and says hello. Hello, the British Unknown.
Anything you want to ask British Unknown?
Yeah. The British Unknown a few weeks ago promised me some memes of me. I mean, I shouldn't be.
Do you want
should
to
I be
encourage
asking
that?
for this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a tweet saying, "Here's a meme," and just no picture. So
maybe that's the greatest meme of all. It's the one where you put the meme you want to see in the gap that he's left
silence.
There. Yeah, or she. Yeah. Is it he or she?
British
Unknown. Who are you?
The British Unknown identifies as an Apache helicopter.
There's no thumbs though, is there? On an Apache helicopter. So how's he?
No.
Or an Apache helicopter going to tweet you a meme?
I don't know, but they manage.
Fair play.
Cool. So that has been us for this week. Make sure you join us next week. And like I was saying, if you have any things that you want to know about Black Friday, or you've got any questions or anything about the things we chatted about today, just pop them down in the comments. And we will see you again soon.
Bye.